All right, y'all. Delayed but not denied, part two. Okay. So basically, I'm gonna go back a little bit. Okay. So when Mary was 9 months old, her mama set her down and was like, "I'm about to see if this girl can walk." And so what she did was she set her down, walked away from Mary, and Mary walked to her mom. So the dad was like, when she turned 2, he was like, okay, it's time for us to donate her, not donate her, but take her to the temple, which they did with like chosen virgins at that time. And the mom was like, "You are not taking my baby nowhere. She is only 2 years old. No, like, give me another year. When we get ready to go out of town for our family vacation, when we go up to Jerusalem, we'll drop her off at the temple then. Because this is my only child, and I waited all this time to get my baby. I know I said I'll give her back to the Lord, but he gonna have to wait a year because this is my baby, okay?" So when she turns 3, they take her up to the monastery and they put her on the steps, and they look to see if Mary is gonna come back to them, but she doesn't. Right? So she stays at the monastery from the age of 3 until she's 12 when she comes on her cycle. Okay? And at that time, the custom was if a woman was bleeding, she wasn't allowed in the temple. So the priest, Zedekiah, I believe his name is, or Zacchaeus, I can't think of his name, but anyway, he was scared because he didn't want to put her out because he like, she chosen. You know what I'm saying? Angels literally come and feed this girl anything she wants. Like, we don't feed her. The angels feed her from the time she was 3 years old until she was 12. Mary was fed by angels, okay? So this is why when the Bible, KJV says she was afraid, she wasn't afraid of the angel. She was afraid of what the angel was telling her that she was getting ready to go through. Mind you, she's like 13. Well, now she's 12, but time goes on. She's like 13 or 14 years old. And here's this angel telling her, hey, you're going to be the mother of all mothers. She's 14 or 13 years old. She's a kid. And you're telling me that I'm going to have to stand up to the whole world? Like, that would be scary. So back to this though. Joseph was a widower. So he had already been married. His wife had already died, and he had grown children. Okay. So they basically had to force Joseph to take her. He did not want to take her. Like, they were like drawing straws, and he picked her, and he was like, I don't want her. Like, I've already been married. I've already got rid of my wife. Like, I'm a carpenter. I'm busy. Like, I don't have time for no little girls. Okay. First of all, I need me a grown woman. And then he remembered what happened to people that refuse God when he tells them something because he has a plan. And he was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just gonna take her. So he marries Mary, and then what he does is he marries her on the wedding night. Instead of having sex with her, he just leaves her at the house. And he's like, I gotta go to work. And he's gone for 6 months, y'all. So this is why in the King James, when it says when he saw her that she was pregnant, and she was big and pregnant, and he hadn't touched her, he was embarrassed. Like, really? I leave you for 6 months. I already didn't want to take you, and now you're gonna embarrass me by waiting until I leave to go get pregnant. Like, seriously? Okay? Like, really? So this is why in the King James, when it says he wanted to put her away, think about it, y'all. If he was right there with her and he would have saw her stomach growing. But he came back and she was 6 months pregnant already. She was already big. She was already due, like dang near due, right? So he had to keep her. He had to keep her. And the angel told him, don't get rid of her. Don't you do it. Don't you get rid of her. You keep her. He didn't even want her, y'all. He had already been married, right? So he ends up keeping Mary, you know what I'm saying? And they end up giving birth to Jesus, right? And that's a whole nother story. That's in the infancy of Jesus Christ. But please go and read this story and see what all happened, because our KJV tells us what happened, but the Protevangelion, or either the birth of Mary, goes into detail about what her parents went through, because her mother was barren. Mary's mother was barren. And it was because God had something super special that he was going to bring through Anna's womb, which was the mother of all mothers. So I want to tell y'all this. Just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. And sometimes God has an appointed time that he is going to do a special thing in your life, because it's going to change the world.